What is gaming and why is it popular? Gaming involves the use of video games, which is a recreational hobby mostly played by kids, teens, young adults, and sometimes even the elderly. Gaming is popular with so many age groups because video games can cover a large variety of the age groups. With so many game developers coming up with new games nowadays, it's more hard to find a game not suited for someone. The first example of video game was unveiled by Dr. Edward Aller Condon in 1940. It was based on ancient mathematical game of Nim, and it was played by 50,000 people in a span of 6 months. The game was housed in a large cabinet with an elevated box, on all four sides of which a series of light bulbs displayed the current game state to the audience. Although it was played by so many people, only few beat the machine. The next was a game system called the Brown Box, released in 1967 by Ralph Baer. However, it was licensed to Magnavox in 1972. Around 300,000 consoles were sold during the span of 1972 to 1975. Brown Box was a prototype for the first multiplayer, multi-program video game system. Thanks to Baer's curiosity and persistence in the 1960s, it made possible the development and commercialization of the interactive video games and modern consoles we know and love today.
The next generation of games were the Periscope and Crown Sucker Special or Pinball, which were released in 1966 to 1967. They were created by the companies Sega and Taito. Then, in 1972, the company Atari became the first gaming company to set standard of large-scale gaming community and develop the Atari gaming console. Atari also created a whole new industry around the arcade when they released the game Pong in 1973. The time between 1972 and 1985, more than 15 companies began to compete with each other to develop video games for the ever-expanding market.
Next was LAN gaming. It started in 1993 with the release of Pathway of Darkness, but grew even more with the release of Marathon on the Macintosh in 1994, and after the first-person multiplayer shooter Quake in 1996. By this time, Windows 95 and other personal computers at that time were becoming more popular rather than the consoles, which at that time were filled with bad press, and too many companies developing games for that market.
Modern years of gaming. Since the early 2000s, gaming has become much more than just console, arcade games, and other simple games. In modern gaming, it has become so diverse that each well-known gaming companies have been their own genre of games they wish to develop further. Here are some of the genres gaming can encompass. Type of game genre: sandbox, real-time strategy, shooters, first-person and third-person, multiplayer online game battle arena, role-playing, simulation and sports, puzzle and party games, action-adventure, survival and horror, platform. That's all for modern years of gaming.
Examples of games in the modern years of gaming: Defense of the Ancients or Dota, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Defense of the Ancients 2 or Dota 2, Grand Theft Auto 5. Positive and negative effects of gaming. Positive effects. Video games can improve manual dexterity. Video games can increase your brain's gray matter. Gamers may have better social skills. Games can teach you to be a better problem solver. You can become more physically active as a gamer. Video games can improve your vision and attention span. Video games can have mental health benefits. They're a fun way to get tricked into learning. Video games can inspire you to be more persistent. While in negative effects, dopamine addiction, reduction in motivation, emotional suppression, repetitive stress injuries, and other health risks, poor mental health, relationship issues, social disconnection, exposure to toxic gaming environments, poor academic or professional performance, escapism, and getting stuck in life. 4 major gaming platforms. PC dominant, PC master race, gamers who invest time and money in their personal computer and use it as their main gaming platform, with the graphic settings cranked up to maximum. Mobile dominant, mobile games have arguably established themselves as the most popular digital gaming platforms today. This transformation has been quite swift, only a few decades, and transformative for both the contents and practices of gaming, as well as the associated game technologies. Console dominant. Console games receive commands from the player through use of an input device, commonly called a controller, unlike a PC, which uses a keyboard and mouse, or a mobile device that uses a touch interface. Console games are limited in their control schemes by the hardware available for the console. Multi-platform players. These are the people who play games in different platforms seated above. Usually, this type of players are the most addicted into playing online video games. Gaming as a job or a career. A professional gamer is a full-time competitive player who is ultimately paid to play video games to a high level of standard. Most professional players are paid by sponsors and their teams to play in the biggest esports tournaments on a global scale. If playing video games professionally sounds too good to be true, then you'll be happy to know that it's a real career path with many opportunities. Professional gaming, also called esports, has become a serious business project to generate $1.5 billion by 2023.
What's your favorite game of all time?
Wild Rift.
What game have you spent the most number of hours on?
Wild Rift.
How much money have you spent in online video games?
I spent 300 pesos.
How much money have you earned in playing video games?
Nothing. I just play for fun.
Is playing online games makes you stress relief or not?
Stressful.
Why?
Because sometimes when I get stressed on academic, I play online games.
Do you believe that video games cause us to become more violent?
It depends on playing.
What do you think are the positive effects of playing online games?
Makes me feel happy.
What are the negative effects?
Into household chores.
What's your favorite game of all time?
CODM.
What game have you spent the most number of hours on?
CODM.
How much money have you spent in online video games?
About 5,000.
How much money have you earned in playing video games?
Nothing. I just play for fun.
Is playing online games makes you stress relief or not?
Sometimes yes.
Why?
Because when I feel bored or stressed, I play games. And sometimes not because when I play games, when I lose, I get stressed.
Do you believe that video games cause us to become more violent?
It depends on the player.
What do you think are the positive effects of playing online games?
Stress reliever.
What are the negative effects?
Get violent. Sometimes.